Dr. Drew is in studio. His daughter Paulina will be joining us momentarily.
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy. She's not late. We are a little early. We started a couple minutes early, so we will bring her in. Until then, we can talk to Dr. Drew. They authored a book together.
We did.
Father-daughter book.
It turned out to be a really good experience.
It doesn't have to be awkward. It's the name of the book. It's available now on Amazon and wherever you find, I miss this, finer books or finer
where fine books are sold.
Fine books are sold. They put fine clothiers, they put the word fine in front of stuff.
That's gone.
Or wherever better books are sold. Better
books.
or fine. I don't know. That's not inclusive enough now or something's going on.
Amazon washed all of it out. Anything good is like, It's just what's lowest price. That's all.
So we have a few clips, thankfully, that Giovanni sent us from way back in the day, Loveline days, when Paulina came in.
I heard. I want her to be here when you play those.
Yeah, we won't play those until she enters the studio.
How old do you think she was around then?
6?
Oh, like a
young
baby.
baby.
Oh, my
Very
God.
young.
Yeah, it's going to be funny.
There was a situation where she wanted a tree house.
Yeah.
And Drew, we're looking at young Drew and young Paulina along with Douglas or Jordan as
Jordan.
well.
I see Jordan back there. Yeah. And is that the phone screen that was always giving you shit?
Is that Tara, Don't Call Me Tara?
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know. Tara, Don't Call Me Tara was one of our phone screeners that gave me some Surus. It was my fault for asking her to do her job nicely, so that one's on me.
Yeah. I hope you've learned.
She sort of was at the tip of the spear of the young millennial and the boss man.
This was the way the wind was blowing.
Coming in and having requests.
Yep.
Judging by Drew's hair and the decor, was that the K-Rock Studios or was that Westwood One?
That's Westwood One.
Yeah.
Westwood One had there was a lot of wood grain going on over there.
Really brown.
A lot
From
of
the
cedar
70s.
on the wall and oak on the console and all that. Yeah.
Oh, I know where that is. The studio's on the right, and that's
Correct.
the little bench that used to be on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll put the picture up at adamcarolla.com.
Yes.
I don't know who the woman is in the background.
I'm pretty sure that's not Tara.
I don't think it's Tara.
Damn it,
Call me
Brian.
Tara. It's not Ann, producer Ann. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody that Drew had bring the kids in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Was it a nanny, babysitter?
I don't think so.
Concubine.
I remember one of my earliest experiences with the twins. Do you remember, Drew, the earliest?
Triplets.
The triplets?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking
Which
at
one do you not like?
I'm looking at 2 kids, but you're right. The triplets.
Douglas.
Yes, I do know exactly what Adam is going to report. He came to dinner in our house. They were roughly 6 months old, and they threw their clothing off and started jumping off the furniture and the architectural appointments around the living room. Yes?
Yeah, you had a sunken living room, or there was something that they could jump off of onto something else in the nude.
And Adam was very uncomfortable.
He
did not like this at all.
And I was like, they're naked, they're going to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? And Drew was like, pay no never mind
animals.
to them.
They're animals. What are you going to do? They're running around like literally just.
No, but they were not 6 months old. They were 3 years old.
Oh, is it that old?
Well, I'm doing the math.
Yeah.
They're 6 here, or 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I started Loveline in '95.
Yeah.
So I don't think I came over to dinner before I knew you.
No, we had just started stuff up. That's true. 95, there would have been 4. So that's about 4, yeah.
Yeah, or it could have been
Clothing optional
Seems
dinner
to be,
Drews.
seems a little old to be throwing their clothes off,
Yeah.
but okay.
That's what I was saying for dinner. Far be it for me to be the prude in the room, but it felt like we'd crossed some sort of line, maybe a fiduciary line that Drew had.
Well, they still had diapers, though. I remember there's the diaper they threw off, so
Oh, my.
kind of weird.
Wow.
Yeah, but I thought
Can't be safe.
they could.
You're lucky one of the boys didn't start urinating from up on the pedestal.
Oh,
Adam was right
as was
at
their
home.
He's
custom.
been peed on. more than
That was their
once.
custom, of course.
well versed in that, Drew. Sand to the beach. But yeah, they were naked, which I was semi-uncomfortable with.
Semi-uncomfortable. You couldn't stop talking about it. What's going on? What's happening here?
Well,
Can we stop
it was
this?
them, but it was also them doing things where I thought they could sprain something
Yeah.
or tear a ligament. So it
I
was
love
kind of
that
both.
Dr. Drew didn't care and you were worried. This
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like
I
a
was
role
worried.
reversal.
Oh yeah, and we were like, it's animals. Uh-oh, Paulina's calling me. Let's see where they are.
It was mainly just a distraction.
We're on the
Sure.
pod
Really,
now.
I was trying to eat and enjoy the company, and I just felt like
59.
the
Are you on
keys
Thompson?
were jingling.
Yeah, wild animals. And
in
then
the,
cut to just a few years later, Natalia telling you, back it up, back it up. I want to jump.
I stand by that decision to almost kill my daughter. I really do. I think it was a very teachable moment.
Sure
and
as hell
also,
was.
it does go and show that the wiring is very early in kids, you know.
And not gender specific.
No, Natalia was a daredevil. She'd run across the bed and leap at me and so on and so forth. And Sonny wouldn't make the jump unless my knees were touching the edge of the bed. Like I was literally pressed against the bed. There was nothing to cover. You know what I mean? If he was Evel Knievel, he would have had the takeoff ramp and the landing ramp touching.
Glued together.
Glued together.
Would have been a little hill.
Yes. It would have popped
He
the
would have
wheelie.
filled in Snake River Canyon.
Right. Yeah. And that's who they are, and that's how they are.
Yeah.
And that's the wiring, and there's nothing we can do
I remember
about
when she used to, she used to jump off the bed. You just let her fall on her face.
Yeah. That's how you learn.
I didn't let her fall on her face. She kept telling me to move back.
Well.
And I kept telling her, I got to what I knew was kind of the threshold.
Yeah.
Like, if I take one more step backward, I will not be able to catch
Yeah.
you. And I knew what her range was, which was a lot. Her range was 7-8 feet. She'd launch herself
Whoa.
like big time. I knew what my range was, and I knew this exceeded my range.
And you gave her fair warning. You
Yeah.
said, I will not catch
You're
you.
not making it.
She's never forgiven you.
Speaking of these uncovered or recovered memories from childhood, I would love to know if Paulina remembers being absolutely humiliated on stage at the, what was it, the
Oh,
Weenie
that's
Rose?
an interesting point. Remember that,
Somebody
Drew?
remembered that. Yeah, they weren't
Do
humiliated.
you think they remember?
No, they were
Or
terrified.
confused?
They were confused.
Yeah, okay.
No, they
Douglas
were
remembers.
frightened.
Douglas remembers it. Douglas remembers it.
Drew,
Yeah.
they were not confused. There was a wall of 13,000 people booing them. They were terrified. They had PTSD.
what they remember is that Joe Montana was there.
Oh,
Nice.
was he?
Remember? You don't remember that?
I don't remember that part.
And that there was like a Rugrats
Where
thing
were
in the
we?
back.
Like, we were
San Jose.
It's San Jose.
Ah,
I knew
now
we were
we're
north
talking.
somewhere.
KSJO?
Yeah. No, it was
Could have been San Luis for some reason, but Joe
no.
Montana.
It was KOME. It was KOME in San Jose.
And we were asked there to bring out.
Some bands or something.
Right.
And we
it was a
decided,
big festival.
Yeah.
It was held in the big amphitheater type space.
And my
Daytime
kids just
thing.
remember that there was video games in the back, and sort of there were like Rugrat figures or something, or
That's
some
for the
sort of
best.
cartoon stuff back there.
But we thought it would be fun to bring them out on stage.
Right.
So we put them in the wings.
Yeah.
Drew and I went out, did
Yeah.
our usual spiel.
Yeah.
You know, love line, blah blah blah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And then I think I announced them as Hanson.
Correct. That's what happened.
And that's when
ladies and gentlemen, Hanson.
we waved them out.
These
and,
three little toe-headed children
Yes.
come out.
and of course, the crowd was there to see Slipknot and Gwar. And it just started booing reflexively. Like they booed. I mean, like if you're at a political rally, if you're at a Trump rally and you go, Obama said, oh, you know, or vice versa.
Nancy Pelosi.
The Joe, like
Yeah.
you just say the name and they would start booing,
Yeah.
and that's what happened with Hanson.
Yeah, we'll see if Paulina. I bet she doesn't remember it. That's my prediction. Douglas has talked about it a couple of times.
In therapy or to you?
Right.
Both.
All right. So, I will be interested in getting her take on that because they were about that same age. Or
About the age you saw in the picture. Just
about
there,
6,
I would
right?
Say. Yeah.
What were you guys doing? Were you like turning that to a little family vacation or something?
Yes, we went to San Francisco, as I recall. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's hard. You know, it's weird. All those things were so vivid for so long, and then they become faint, and you can't like really remember. It's very strange.
And I don't
like
remember
that.
Joe Montana being there.
I remember that there was sort of a bridge up top. We could watch the bands, and he was up there, and my sons were very impressed with that. Joe Montana. Oh my
Probably
goodness.
wasn't that far off his playing days.
Absolutely not. He'd been like gone a year or two.
Yeah. We
he
may
wa-
have still been playing, but for Kansas City.
Kansas City, right. But may have retired. I don't know. When did
Oh,
Montana
no,
retire?
because you guys
90
would have been 95, 96. I
Yes.
imagine.
Yeah,
Okay,
a
so
couple
you probably
years.
retired.
Yeah, it's a couple years out. Anyway, the book had been a good success, and we enjoyed doing it. And it was originally supposed to be about consent. They came to me and some publishers like, let's I can book on consent. I'm like, all right, because the teenagers, young people were really confused with the Me Too thing. They didn't know, they didn't want to be seen as bad people. They didn't know how to, and South Park was sort of nailing it at the time. They were saying that you'd have to bring out documents, to get consent.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. And I thought, all right, it's a good idea to do that. And then COVID hit, and I thought, you need a young person. I can't do this. I can't reach what it's like for a 15-year-old.
Need some cred.
So Paulina was just finished her graduate degree in writing from Columbia, and I thought I can bring in Paulina in, and it worked. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh,
we'll heat up your mic and get right up on it, please, Paulina. That's just the way they work.
Perfect.
Happy to do that.
Glad to have you. We had a clip saved from Loveline from a million years ago. I think maybe there's two. I don't know which one we were playing, but or maybe both.
You were on the show. You don't know that?
Oh, I know.
Oh.
No, I mean, being on Twitter as your daughter means Loveline fans reminding me when I was on Loveline. So I only know because the fans told me.
Was it? And before we forget, do you have any recollection to being at an outdoor concert in San Jose and being brought out on stage as Hanson and hearing the audience boo?
Unfortunately, I repressed that memory.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Shove it down.
Shove it on down.
You don't remember it?
Nope.
Okay, good.
It's for the best.
Douglas
Wait, that
remembered it.
actually happened?
Yeah, you were out on stage in an amphitheater of about 13,000 people, something like that.
Could have been more.
It looked, maybe 24,000, and you looked confused.
And like it was like a hard rock concert, and Adam brought you out as Hanson, and everybody booed.
Everybody, Hanson! Give a round of applause.
But it's actually good. It's actually interesting philosophically if we think about it for a second, which is my childhood was devoid of any events, any trivia,
True.
any
Meaning,
experiences,
joy,
or meaning
love,
or joy
empty.
or travel.
Spotlight.
Empty.
Well, what I mean is if I had gone to Maui once, whatever the age, and you said to me, whatever the age I currently am, you remember your trip to Maui, I would have been vividly, because it would have been one trip. Now, if you're going on lots of trips, being exposed to lots of groups and crowds, having lots of experiences, then, ask any comedian, ask Chris Rock about any arena he's played over the last 20 years. Like, I don't remember. They all blend into one. But if he played one show in one arena that one time, then it gets kind of burnt in.
Absolutely.
Right? Like the one Christmas you got the shit you wanted.
Yeah.
But if it was every Christmas you got all the shit you wanted, then you don't have the general recollection of it anymore.
It's diluted.
We'll play the clip from
That's a waste of my time.
That's Sunny from 2000. This is what, you want to set this up, Chris?
Yeah, this is just a late night. Paulina was up, the other kids were sleeping, so they decided to get her on mic.
Yep, it is Loveline. I'm Adam Carolla. He is Dr. Drew. Drew's young daughter has not gone to sleep yet.
No. She wants to talk on that microphone, too.
Yeah. Well, heat it up there, Anderson. Let's hear what she has to say.
We hear you now, Paulina. You're on the air. You can say something.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Paulina.
Mickey Mouse.
No using the F word or the S word on the air, right?
Yes.
Okay. You enjoying yourself?
Yep.
What's your hamster's name?
Herman.
Herman.
I
Remember
call him
that?
Coconut too.
You do?
Oh my God.
Why do you call him Coconut?
He's loco.
Oh, yeah, it's a little crazy.
Yep.
Bilingual. All right, and how long have you had Herman? Great minds.
How long did I have him, Daddy?
About 2 months.
About 2 months.
Sounds like
That should be your ringtone.
6 months, she told you.
That's a good part about being a kid. All right. Well, you'll have him for a good long time. I think the average
He
life...
turned 2 today.
He turned 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
She just
How did
decided
I know that? Yeah,
Oh, I
didn't
see.
know that.
Well, happy birthday, Herman. And hamsters live to what, 30, 35 years old? All right. All right, Paulina, thank you. Take a little nap now, okay?
Please.
There.
Please. Please.
That's right.
Wow,
that
good
is,
improv. Yes, and napping.
I was a natural.
21, or I'm sorry. Yeah, that's 21 years ago.
Wow.
And then...
Herman lasts another 9 weeks.
Well, he died shortly after he was
Yeah.
on Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus,
Oh, yeah.
in which he was on a leash on stage. And we upgraded his cage to one of those like 2-tier wire cages that has like staircases.
Yeah.
He just sat at the bottom and slowly died.
Oh no.
So, but he used to literally go into the wall sockets and then end up in my mom's bathtub. So he was a special hamster.
Wow, he got around.
Spelunking.
And then there was wrote the letter to me to build her the treehouse, which Drew
I don't know if I've
fostered.
actually heard this segment, but I remember writing that letter.
Yeah, you wanted a treehouse.
I'm still
You
upset.
still want a treehouse.
Yeah, I had plans.
I still got mad skills.
Listen, it's never too late.
I concur. I think in a weird way, building a treehouse for a son or a daughter is like one of the purest things a dad can do.
Absolutely.
And so Drew, it was actually funny because Drew was trying to recruit me, but also when Jordan and Douglas came by with their little soapbox racer, the little Cub Scout ski racer thing I shaped for them.
Yep.
I think I was the go-to woodworking guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that you're a natural woodworker, Dad.
No.
No,
No.
But he has a guy.
He has a guy. My mom's the one that fixes the toilets when they break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she blows them up. So I mean, to be fair to her, you break it, you bought it, baby. So this is a cut from Loveline from 2002, which is the letter.
I'll tell you something. This girl's penmanship, spelling, and punctuation is better than mine. Absolutely.
Which was not a hard
And
far cry.
vocabulary with the use of the three pleases. Please, make a big tree house, please. I would really like that. It would be the funniest. No, it would be the funnest thing in the house. I could have my club meetings in it. You got to get her away from your wife. Already thinking about them clubs, them social clubs.
Scary.
Got to get the girls together so we can complain about guys in life. See, guys get together, they watch sports,
They do stuff.
they get loaded.
Yeah.
Girls get together and complain about guys getting together.
Oh, yeah.
That's really why girls' clubs were formed, because guys won out. Guys said, hey, let's get together. Let's go to the drag races. Let's go to the motocross races. Let's throw the football around. Let's watch the game. Women said, we got to have a meeting so that we can complain about what guys do when they get together. They can't even do stuff, women, that does not involve complaining about guys.
Little editorializing here.
What a life that would
This
be.
is part of the letter?
Yeah, that was all
I
in the
could have
letter.
my club meetings in it.
I was going off the beat.
If you say yes, you might not. I really want you to, and this is in parentheses, I really, really want you to, and me and my friends will help you.
Oh.
If you say yes, will you start this weekend?
Oh, wow.
And come and do it at our house, please.
What's the starting date?
I can't stop thinking about how much fun it would be.
Wow. Hard sell.
Can I bring this letter to my therapist? I keep trying to give him examples of this sort of pressure I'm under, but he never understands what I'm talking
Problem
about.
is, if your girlfriend sees it, you're going to be at our house.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. P.S. Right back tonight at the radio and give it to my daddy. Is that Anderson or? No,
Write her back, Adam.
I'm scared because what grade is she in?
Third grade.
My penmanship and spelling is no better than this, and my writing is slightly less legible.
She'll feel like she's getting a letter from her peers. It'll be fine. Pretty good.
Her peers, like, would you have
Second grader.
a first grader take quotation? Okay, all right. I'm going to write her back. All right.
All right. This will be good.
Please, please, please leave my ass alone. No, I'll put a bid in, but it's going to be so high that I'll be right out of the game. That's my plan.
All right.
What does a girl want a treehouse for?
She and a little group of friends decided they wanted meetings. A group of them.
I built
Meetings.
Jimmy's kid a playhouse once.
That's right.
years ago.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I did. One of the first things I did when I met Jimmy is build him out a playhouse in the backyard, a house they were renting in the San Fernando Valley, like the first house
This is
Jimmy
gonna be a
had when he
problem.
moved out here.
Paulina looks
Disaster.
betrayed.
Yeah.
I didn't know that piece of information, and my question is, did you not build it for me because I'm a girl?
He's part of the patriarchy.
Well, Jimmy has a son and a daughter. And it was decorated more in a female theme. So I think the playhouse Interesting. Treehouse, I do think male. Playhouse, I think female.
Okay.
Both have house, both in the backyard. Maybe it's the elevation. I don't know. Or maybe it's that when I grew up, every commercial or kid movie had the guys in the treehouse.
Right.
They
Yep.
never really depicted females in a treehouse. It was always the guy. It's a patriarchy.
It is the patriarchy. I was ready for that treehouse. I was ready for all my meetings. Mostly, I wanted to choreograph dances in there.
Yes.
That was like the primary activity. But to this
The
day,
patriarchy made you do that.
Well-
It's the patriarch tree.
Yes.
The patriarch tree.
Patriarch tree.
I also love that in that letter I'm saying that the treehouse is going to be the best thing. I'm ignoring the trampoline, the pool.
You guys had a nice bouncy castle before they were in vogue.
Yes, that's right.
our
there
first
was-
grade birthday party.
Was it first grade?
Yeah, that was the first year we were in our new house, and I
Yeah.
remember you. Specifically remember you there because
Yeah.
you were with a blonde woman.
That's right.
And-
from Loveline.
Yeah.
And
She
she
was
was-
our co-host.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
She was so nice.
Oh yes.
She was so nice to me, and I was just like remember being like, "Oh, it's my birthday."
You think that's how adults are, and then you become an adult and you hang out with other adults, and then you realize they're not nearly as nice as they
Yeah.
are to you when you're. That must have been 2000.
2000.
Trying to think, and that was the first year you were
1999.
in the big.
Big house.
The
We just
big
moved
house?
In, yeah.
Yeah, we moved. You guys had a full bouncy castle.
It was a slide
slides.
thing.
It was an
Yeah,
obstacle
it was an
course.
inflatable
Yeah, obstacle
castle.
course, yeah.
Right. It wasn't
was-
a bouncy castle.
The best birthday party that's ever been thrown for me, and it was all downhill from there.
Right, but it's
At least
not,
we got there.
It's not really thrown for
Peaked at
you.
7.
It's thrown for you
And my brothers.
You only get 33% of
It's
that
true.
party if you think about it.
And I remember Adam was looking at all your classmates going, you can see exactly who everybody's going to be already. You remember that?
Yeah, I should have tagged them.
She's like,
they're
there's the
a pot of
alcoholic.
whale.
There's he was like,
Future lawyer.
yeah.
Well, kids have a certain motor, and they have certain leanings and sense of humor, or
Oh,
the
yeah.
dour kids, or the quiet kids, or the thinkers, and the scared kids, the kids that don't want to go up the ladder and slide down the inflatable slide. And it starts to show itself like pretty damn early.
Yeah.
Although, so for you got into comedy writing,
Yeah.
and I didn't see that on. Although
You didn't see that coming for me?
I did. Well, I never thought of Drew. Drew was always like college with the kids, and I never thought of comedy in college. I
Yeah.
just thought of you're going there to study some hard science or something.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do science. I did American Studies in undergrad. And then after, here's my question. How do you feel having predicted my eating disorder?
Oh,
I will.
well
Well,
done.
to be fair to me, I have made many jokes about many subjects. Like I said, Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States.
In 1992 or 96, you said that.
it was like 08. The thing about
radio
that
show,
one
yeah.
is I said he will be president in 2016, and I'm not even versed enough in
know
the
when the elections
presidential
are?
election
Right.
years. I could have said 17 and a half. Like I just said, I called the
Wow.
year.
You did?
Too. Yeah, which people think, oh my God, but it's really just if you talk for 7 hours a day, shit's
A
gonna
broken clock.
Shit's gonna come out of your
Yeah.
mouth. Now, as
Yeah.
far as your eating disorder goes, I was just using it as a stick to beat Drew with, which is all your college talk and all your helicopter parenting is going to. And men traditionally don't have eating disorders.
They do.
Traditionally.
Well.
I'm putting the word traditionally.
Okay.
front. What I'm saying is I focused on you because traditionally the daughter has the eating disorder, and I was trying to bring Drew down a couple of. So it wasn't. It wasn't Nostradamus-esque. It was more just.
It wasn't prophetic.
Nonstop. No, although it was.
It was.
But it wasn't.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because in college I discovered writing, and I wrote a piece about my eating disorder, and that made me eating disorder girl in a way that I didn't want to be eating disorder girl. And that's when I decided to do the comedy trajectory. And so after college, I went and did the Second City Conservatory and studied improv and sketch. And then after that, I went to graduate school at Columbia, where I pursued my Master's of Fine Arts in Nonfiction and Creative Writing. And I applied to be a seminar teacher in the creative writing program for high schoolers. And they were like, no, we want you to teach comedy. We don't need you as a seminar person. So now I've been teaching comedy for 4 years.
Nonfiction creative writing. What is the emphasis there? What is the application?
Shitting on your parents.
Not exclusively, but that is under the umbrella.
Okay.
Nonfiction can be anywhere from biography,
I know
essays.
that, but the creative part it feels counterintuitive a little bit. I was an English major also, so it feels like it's a little counterintuitive.
It makes me think like essayist, memoirist.
Exactly. I'm a memoirist.
Aha.
So
Okay.
that's my primary mode. But
Plus the shitting on the parents.
shitting on my
Oh, well,
parents.
speaking of shitting on
That's how it
parents,
manifests itself.
I got a joke, which is I had one of those helicopter moms as well, except for she was the last helicopter out of Saigon. So I never saw her. But
They dumped her off the ship eventually.
they pushed her off a battleship.
I don't know if this is a question more for your dad or for you, but I guess for the doc. So when you see these pieces that feel a little personal, a little, because like a lot of us were raised to like keep it in the family, deal with it, How did you feel? How did Susan feel?
We read it like this.
Yeah, at arm's length.
Like,
yeah.
Waiting for the punches, and are always proud of it once we get used
That's
to it.
I mean,
Not
ultimately.
so much, Mom.
Yeah,
No,
well,
even she.
Really?
Yeah. She can
it
get
takes
upset
her.
about it.
It takes her. She has to have her
Let's
initial
Let's
reaction.
just say the punches land a little more. There's some good body shots that I don't have to suffer sometimes.
Well,
or at least they don't land the same way.
The thing is when it comes to nonfiction writing, good nonfiction writing doesn't come from a place of vengeance. And so,
Shit.
so ultimately you have to come from a place of having processed the information first before you craft it into something. And so I'm never coming from a place of like trying to cause harm or take shots. Like ultimately for me, it's how do I conjure the experience? How do I do the world building? How do I convey my perspective and my experience, mostly because my childhood experience was so, like, as you were saying, like, I was going to Maui when I was, like, 6 months old, Like, I've experienced things that the majority of this country hasn't. And so, for me, it's more of just kind of documenting the entire experience in a way that is holistic and not...
I would argue also as she has sort of worked through or developed these writing experiences that she's more. What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Keep going.
Sympathetic for. I get distracted. The more sympathetic to women our age, Adam, and her mom's experience and what they had to deal with the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah. I was not a woman in the 80s.
Is
Gina's like,
Not me.
you're a good writer, but you're a good
I was.
talker too. Are you thinking
you.
about getting out, stand up? I mean, I don't know, whatever the next progression is comedically.
Everyone thinks I already do stand up, so I think it's time that I take the leap and try. But right now, we're selling. We have It Doesn't Have to Be Awkward, which is out now where books are sold.
Fine books are
finer
sold.
books.
finer books.
Finer books. Oh, is that
Before
a
you
joke?
got here,
I missed the joke.
yes, it's callback.
I know that term.
Now, I actually could see marrying those two ideas and you guys going on the road and doing this as sort of a stand-up presentation.
We
Yeah.
hope to do that.
That would
we
be
actually have
great.
one scheduled already
In November.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's going to actually form that'll take, but we'll figure it out.
I think there will be a PowerPoint.
Probably. For me, that's a comfort zone. But the book, we covered a lot of material in the book. We really do. It's for like 12 to 20-year-olds and their parents, and we cover like everything. We try to be very inclusive with it.
Friends, parents,
Bullying.
bullies, teachers, dating.
Was there anything in the book that either one of you was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do it with this person. I don't want to talk about this with my dad. I don't want to talk about this with my daughter.
Not really.
No,
That's great.
as I said yesterday in another interview, there were clear boundaries when it came to information sharing. Like I wasn't like, Dad, I did X, Y, and Z. Like that didn't happen.
Adam loves this. This is his happiest moment.
He's having a great
He's
time.
been waiting for this for 26
No,
years.
I haven't. I'm always more mystery, less history. That's what's on my license plate frame.
You know what did traumatize her though was the dag bit we did with the earpiece. And she didn't understand. She did not understand. People, I don't know if we have to bring this up.
Well,
Chris.
it's not that I didn't understand. It was that here is this cartoon rendering of me that like sort of does look like me and like kind of encapsulated my worst fear in that, you know, because I was my dad's daughter, I would be kind of projectiled in this way that was kind of not, I don't want to say problematic, but just there was a tension on me, right? Like you were saying.
I'm going to stop you because I want to deliver this news. The two things that bugged her in the cartoon, one, you mentioned the eating disorder. You said you're going to give her an eating disorder.
Oh, that's right. It's in that.
Number two, and she didn't understand why Dag was talking about prolapsing her anus.
Oh, boy.
Which was the opening folly in that. And you're going to have to explain that to Paulina now, exactly why that was his opening comment.
Well, he is a little Tourette'sy, I think. And it's also something we probably discussed on Loveline enough so that it got into his vernacular.
We must have had a call or something.
Maybe something from
5 minutes
earlier.
Before or something.
Again, all the callbacks, but if you're not there for the call, then you don't get the callback reference. But I'm assuming it was something we had discussed earlier in the evening before we slid into that.
It's excellent improv, you know? Like,
it is. It's fine improv.
It is. But, you know, when you're 14 and your mom puts it on Facebook and says, look at this hilarious video, link and laugh.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how I found it.
Oh.
Yeah, see?
And I'm like 14.
Sue shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah.
Is she here?
No.
Okay.
Jordan drove me.
She's hiding in the closet.
Jeez.
Well, social media this predated that, but then
it was
obviously
Facebook.
But this thing was before Facebook.
Yeah, it might have been
But look, so was 70s porn
Right.
you can readily find on your phone today. You know, it's like just because it was created before does not mean it shall not be experienced hence.
Sounds like it should have been MySpace if you were that age.
No, because freshman year of high school, I managed to get a Facebook.
Okay.
And she tagged me.
Well, this is on the same subject, and we'll veer a little bit. But I think they recently, I don't know if it was Twitter, Facebook, some place that Zuckerberg's running or whatever. But there's now data that they weren't sharing with us that women, especially girls, young girls, spending a lot of time on their phone is pretty damaging. Mm-hmm. And I mean, how could it not be? How could it help, sort of thing? I don't know if it was a study. I think it was leaked documents or whatever. So this is kind of going down the way the whole tobacco thing went down in the 80s, which is the big tobacco companies obviously knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They knew cigarettes were addictive and nicotine and blah, blah, blah. They'd haul them in front of Congress and they'd go, it's not addicting. We don't have any data to support. But then you find the internal memos that say, we know what's going on. And by the way, who's smarter than them? You know what I mean? That's their business. That's their company. They know what's going on. I'll filibuster for a second here, Chris. You can find that. But they're now pretty much figuring out that young women especially are negatively impacted by all the interaction.
That makes perfect sense, because for anybody, if you combine two insane things, which is isolation and being obsessed with what other people think of you, but not having any community to absorb that, you're fucked. And you talk about like a 13-year-old girl who is already just literally walking nerves. I don't know how that could be anything but damaging.
How long did I have him, Daddy?
The cartoon was called Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Romeo and
I don't know.
Romeo and
Paulina,
Juliet.
thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, you know, it's social media generally. I'm so grateful that I didn't have Instagram growing up. I mean, it's just immediate comparison, and everyone is projecting, you know, their idealized version of their life. And so, you know, you scroll through your feed and you're having a bad day. It looks like everyone's having a fantastic day. And so I think that there needs to be more media literacy, and that means, both in the media and also social media, in that, it's all a projection, it's all a performance. And it's hard for, kids who are coming to something and just viewing it for the first time to like have that sort of filter system. So I really think that media literacy is something that we should be teaching. I
imagine, and you have what, MaxPad? You have that article, or do you have
Dawson
that?
will read it.
Oh, okay.
Facebook aware of Instagram's harmful effect on teenage girls, leak reveals. Facebook has kept internal research secret for 2 years that suggests its Instagram app makes body image issues worse for teenage girls, according to a leak from the tech firm. Since at least 2019, staff at the company have been studying the impact of their product on its younger users' states of mind. Their research has repeatedly found it is harmful for a large proportion, and particularly teenage girls. Quote, we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls.
Sheesh.
I believe it.
Well, it's no different than tobacco, as you said.
That was on a slide.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
And we all know it's doing it. Much like tobacco, we knew it was addictive,
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, though.
I turned 2 today.
Optics are kind of interesting because when the tobacco guys were hauled up in front of Congress, they'd be wearing like 3-piece suits with tie clips and a pinky ring, and they had bad mustaches. Like, look at those guilty motherfuckers. Zuckerberg shows up in a hoodie and flip flops. We're like, hey, leave the guy alone, man.
He seems like a nice guy.
He's a nerd. He's not doing anything to chicks. Come on, look at him. Yeah, he's doing the same shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say that sort of the way that I personally try to combat that is by diversifying the people that I follow. So whether that's, just their profession or what they look like, I think being cognizant of who you are following and the images that you're consuming is very important. Because ultimately we are all in control of the accounts that we follow. And so that is going to dictate what you consume. So,
well, I think you're absolutely right. And I've made this comparison before to like reality TV. And it's just like, I've never seen The Real Housewives. It's like being reminded for a half hour what I don't have doesn't interest me.
But so many people, they love the drama, I think, but also just like Kardashian-esque fame / money is the pinnacle right now, which is so interesting. The cusp of collapse. Society's collapsing, and we're like, yes, I want 4 Lamborghinis and a house in Calabasas.
Just 4, huh? Okay.
Poor man.
Well, no, so
I tried to get her to aim high.
I say to Drew, have been saying to Drew, all roads lead to narcissism.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it back to you
that.
and your home and everything else. If you say
he's preparing to get us out of here, just
I'm preparing. Yeah. But if you said to me, you want to go see the soothsayer? She reads tarot cards. She'll read your palms. She'll tell you your future. I go, get that gypsy shit out of here. But when Sue has the reader at your party, there's a fucking long line of people who would never go into one of those places going, okay.
Tell me more.
Tell me more about me.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think they figured out, the algorithm is, someone's going to talk about you, you're going to fucking find out. You don't, there's the voyeur where it's like, oh, back when we were growing up, like People magazine. Let's see how, the cast of Falcon Crest really lives. That's okay at the airport. But what if the cast of Falcon Crest was talking about you?
Oh,
yeah.
How are you going to stay away from that? You know what I mean? Like someone said something about you, or they tweeted you, or you're involved. You're in the mix. They know that beckons, man. Like you cannot walk away from that. And that's why it's so addicting. I mean, that's what they have. That's the hold. That's like the invisible lasso that they have on everyone. It's about you. You're not just, you cannot read about the news or current events or what's going on in India with vaccinations or something. But some shit that's got to do with you got to check that every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the draw. That's the nicotine.
Yeah.
Yes.
The heroin.
The heroin. All right. I should, let me do a quick live read, and then I'll give you guys a plug, and we'll get on with our lives. Liquid IV, it's important, man, especially now that it's back to 95 degrees outside. Cooler weather. can make you miss signs of dehydration. Of course, when it's hot, you're sweating, you know it. You want to support that immune system. Plus, the holiday hangover season, man, it's just around the corner. Liquid IV, I always travel with a couple sticks of this in my overnight bag. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates faster and more efficiently, I should say, than water alone. 5 essential vitamins, more vitamin C than an orange, as much potassium. Drew would always say if you're hungover, have a banana. Then a banana, no artificial flavors or preservatives, less sugar than an apple. Flavors, strawberry, lemon, lime, pina colada, guava, watermelon. It's Liquid IV, right, Dawson?
Grab your favorite Liquid IV flavors nationwide at Walmart, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Adam at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you get better hydration today using promo code Adam at liquidiv.com.
You turned 2 today.
Oh, the little cherub.
That's the whole chasm of vocals patterns. Dawson and a 6-year-old boy.
That's right. Bookends. Everything's in between. Dr. Drew, Paulina Pinsky, the book. It doesn't have to be awkward. It's available now on Amazon and website paulinapinsky.com and drdrew.com. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. I got many things to share. And then Lisa Lampanelli's coming in right after this. I had a interesting sneeze situation that I did not share with you guys, but I forgot about it. I'm not a big sneezer. I don't really have allergies, but when they hit, they hit. I can't really push them down.
Without warning, as August would say.
Well,
as August would do.
Mike doesn't know when he's going to
Okay.
sneeze. I get about a 12-second heads up.
Sure.
But it's kind of like we're not getting that horse back in the barn.
Right.
Once it's on, it's sort of on. It's a countdown to destruction. And but I don't sneeze often, and so it's not a thing. And when we were in Chicago last weekend and we're doing a show, and Park West, 15, 20-minute drive from the hotel, met Mike down in the lobby, jumped in the back of a town car, Uber-y thing, jumped in the back of the car, realized I left my fucking mask in the fucking room, and I had no mask. But it was dark, and I was sort of sitting back, and the guy who was driving the car started the seat pushed up, and he didn't have a good angle on me. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and hopefully he doesn't say anything because I don't have a mask. And then about 30 seconds later, I felt the sneeze coming. And I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't know what to do, but it's coming. And I got about 15 seconds to try to deal with it. And then I pulled my shirt over my face and I sneezed. But as soon as I sneezed, the guy's head whipped around like, where's your mask? And I'm like, ugh.
Is it just a smash cut to him pulling over and launching you out with your stuff behind you?
If it was a sitcom, that's what it would have been. It was instead, Mike travels with a bevy of beat up, gravy-stained SARS-covered mask and somewhere in his sweatpants, and he'll always pull one out and throw it at me.
Defeats the purpose.
To the man who picked up a dirty one at the port in Catalina, I'm sure it was good enough.
I always put it right on.
Now,
yes.
are you a 1, 2, or 3 sneezer? I'm a 3 sneezer.
I will go for a while. This thankfully was one and done. It was a Derringer.
Have you guys had the experience in the last year and a half with the COVID and the mask and everything where you sneeze and you reflexively cover your mouth? You're
absolutely.
like, what am I doing? I'm an idiot right now.
Yep.
So you get the mask on. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Agreed. All right. Let's see. I got a couple of phone calls up there, but I also have that alligator video that everyone saw.
A guy trying to trap an alligator in his like recycling bin or something.
Right, in his trash can in Florida, obviously. But it was pretty. It was kind of interesting. It was not a large alligator, but large enough. It was
a fucking alligator.
It was 7 feet long.
Yeah.
And the guy
That's not large?
The guy, well, alligators get to 16 feet or something. It was probably like a teenage alligator, but whatever.
He's backing up.
He's coming at it with the trash can. And it was kind of interesting. He's kind of pushing it along the lawn, and the alligator's backpedaling, and its mouth is open hissing. And at some point, he flips the lid down on it, and the alligator tries to attack the lid and somehow gets off his game. As I recall, he gets his head in, Then he gets his head out, but then he flips the lid down, and the alligator goes to attack the lid,
Smart.
and then somehow gets in the can.
Look at that.
And the guy pulls the thing in, the tail's thrashing around, and he lifts it up and gets the whole thing into the thing.
Holy
now,
shit.
Looks like a dinosaur.
right, crowd is cheering.
Jesus.
Now, couple things. This is all very interesting to me, but I approach it more in the poor Steve Irwin, because this guy was wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
And socks.
He had no prior experience wrangling alligators. Remember, you'd watch
Minimal.
Steve Irwin.
At most.
Steve Irwin had boots,
Yeah.
laced up high,
A lot of khaki.
yeah.
desert shorts,
A lot of pockets.
a lot of pockets, and a roll of duct tape. And he'd jump on that alligator, and you're like, "Oh my God, no one else could do that." But evidently, a guy in flip-flops can
be done.
in a trash can and flip-flops. It's just not what you want.
The bar's been lowered.
If you're the widow,
Yeah.
Steve
If you're
Irwin.
Bindi.
Yeah, Bindi.
Steve Irwin, as I was thinking about this, I Googled it up. Dead 15 years.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
A
I feel like it was
stingray.
during the radio show or right before.
06.
There you go.
Like right there or
First
right,
year, yeah.
right before.
Didn't a stingray like go through his chest? Like,
You know,
pierce his chest?
I was, yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
barb.
I was trying to think about this. Like he was swimming above the manta ray or the stingray
Yeah.
or whatever. They're all so majestic because they're
They're
sort
beautiful.
of they're the best of the sky and the best of the
That's
ocean.
right.
You know, they just
Yeah.
simply-
Flap, yeah.
They just flap along, and for some reason, the stinger just
The barb went through his heart.
through his heart. Yeah.
right.
Fucked him up.
I don't know. Was he?
He was only 44.
Were they attacking him, or did the stingray know what it was doing? I don't know, but either way. And he used to swim. He'd always be in the water in the khaki shorts and the
Yeah.
desert shirt and the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like that was his
brand.
swimsuit.
It was
It
all
was his
leather,
brand.
yeah.
But anyway, he'll be missed, but not as much. Because it turns out a dude in flip-flops and a do-rag
done.
with a recycling bin can
Carrying on his legacy.
pretty much handle what he handled.
That was very much like the poor man's Siegfried and Roy.
Right.
You know, instead of like the majestic outfits and the whip and the chair, just a trash can and flip-flops.
All right, let's hop on some phone calls here. Talk to Mike, 43, Omaha. Mike?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, guy.
Hey.
Hello. Something I've been noticing in Omaha lately is a lot of the time, if you see somebody driving like a maniac in traffic, they're often a cute young girl, often blonde. And I've had this happen 4 or 5 times in the last couple months, where like somebody cuts me off hard or goes across like 3 lanes of traffic to get over to a turn lane and cuts 3 or 4 people off. And you pull up next to him, and sure enough, it's a nice looking 20-year-old blonde, and she's like looking at her phone. And I'm curious, is that something? Do you guys have that in California, or is that just a Nebraska thing?
Well, everyone
They-
is
they drive
blonde
like
and good-looking
maniacs.
here.
We had to draw the line between driving recklessly, like he's described, like, oh, shit, my exit, you know, I've been tuned out listening to a podcast or whatever, versus what I think you and I do, which is the very aggressive drive.
Yeah, that's
sort of
my
the
move.
assertive drive.
Yeah.
I would reckon.
Right, and this is not aggressive. This is dangerous.
That's what I'm thinking.
Checked out.
I think
Yeah.
it makes sense to me that young, attractive blondes are spending more time with social media or on their phone than middle-aged, paunchy Hispanic dudes driving a gardening truck.
Sure.
Like,
Right.
I'm trying to think. So I would imagine if it's younger, like, I'm trying to think. When I drive my daughter and her friends around, they always all hop on their phones immediately. It's going to be hard to basically. It's kind of interesting because you have essentially 10 years. Mike, what you up to over there?
Dodging hot drivers.
He's capturing alligators.
Mike,
What's that again?
what are you
Sorry,
doing?
say again?
What are you doing over there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Graphic design. I work
Okay.
from home.
At this moment?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Okay. All right. Sounded more involved than that.
No, I'm sorry. I'm walking around. I hope I'm not cutting out too much.
That's all right. Okay. So interesting, which is girls and boys, but they get that phone now when they're 8, 10 years old, and then they spend hours in an automobile with the phone.
Yes.
So they get the phone when they're 7 or 8 or 9. And then they sit in a car, and the parent goes, yeah, get busy on your phone so I can listen to my music or whatever. And then they get used to just getting in a car and getting on the phone, and then they drive 200,000 miles from the age of 9 to the age of 16, and then they get their driver's license, and we go, you can bring your phone, but don't look at your phone.
Good luck.
Seems like it's already kind of built, it's already woven into the muscle memory at that point.
Is there an app out there, almost like the breathalyzer, where you once it detects you're in a car, it like locks itself for kids, for teens?
They're gonna they have those sort of beacons on them where you can tell where they are
right
all the time. There's but there must be something, but I'm sure they can defeat it and get on with it.
Right. Well, it's like you just talked about how, staying on social media is harmful to teenage girls. Well, guess what? It's also harmful when you go 65 miles an hour into a median.
It can be harmful to 67-year-old retirees if you're crossing 3 lanes.
That's right.
And staring at your phone. Yeah, it's a phenomenon. It's going to have to be dealt with. I would reckon Los Angeles is going to deal with this problem by coming up with something cute for one of their freeway signs that rhymes.
Yeah.
Don't be a text pest
Oh,
or
that's
something,
good.
something dumb that we'll put up there that will make no impact. But that's how we're going to deal with it personally. Thanks, Mike from Omaha.
Awesome.
All right, let's see. Somebody's got a question about Joe Coy and Chelsea Handler.
Yeah.
I knew those two were a couple. Also, someone's complaining. Someone's got something with Gabby Petito. Hey, Tommy, 40, New York.
Yo, Waze, Paul, Gina, what's up, guys?
Hi, Guy.
Hi, guys. Guys, first of all, I love your fucking show. Ace, I've been a fan of yours for the last 20 years. You guys are lifesavers during my long marathon training runs. Fucking love it. Listen every single day. Love it, guys.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
How long are your training runs?
Depends on the day. It could be like an hour, 3 hours, but listen to part 1 and part 2 sometimes.
Nice.
So.
Well, what's your question? Or your thought?
Well, it's not so much a question, just an observation, because I know the Gabby Patino thing has been talked to death, but I was on CNN.com, and they had like 5 articles about why aren't, minorities being focused on, and, you watch on TV, and then they have like, cunt Joy Reid with a whole soliloquy, whatever, talking about how, and all I'm doing is screaming at my computer and my TV saying, you're the media. Mm-hmm. You cover it then. Yes. I mean, I don't understand this. Like, they're complaining about lack of coverage, but they're the media. They have total control over what to broadcast.
That's a great point.
It's a very, very interesting point and an interesting time we're at, which is my entire first half of my life, and I'll lead into 6 years ago. You could switch on to ABC or CNN or Fox or NBC and you just watch what their stories were, but none of their stories were on their competitors or the other channels.
Oh,
now there's a lot of Joy Reid's entire show is probably what Tucker Carlson is up to, and it's a two-way street. They both complain about what the other is doing or not doing. Actually. Joy Reid, MSNBC is complaining about what Tucker Carlson is saying, and then Fox is complaining about what they're not covering. So it's like, it's kind of funny. It's because here's what they're not saying about the border or the Hellfire missile strike that killed the kids. Or like, they're not saying it. And the other side's going, here's what they said about slavery. And it's an interesting thing. And it's probably... It went from 0% when I was growing up. There was no world where Dan Rather was talking about
talk shit.
Harry Reasor's a fag. You should see what he's talking about.
Ted Koppel, that homo.
Yeah, they would never do that.
It's beneath them.
Well, not only that, that was their competition.
Yeah.
You had to pretend
If
like
you were
they
watching them.
didn't exist. If you were selling... If you're selling cheeseburgers, you weren't talking about the other place that was selling cheeseburgers. You're talking about how good your cheeseburgers were. And now It's depending on the day, you might be at 15, 20%, depending on who's. MSNBC is just about Fox. Fox, depending on what shows you watch,
they need each other.
20%. But at a certain point, it's going to get past 50%.
Yeah.
And at some point, they should just get in the same room.
Yeah, fucking make out and get it over
Just
with.
go at it. Instead of pulling clips, you can just do it in real time.
You see what he said just now?
You hear that? One thin
The picture-in-picture.
piece of lucite it divides us from insanity
It's
over
a
there.
simulcast. They're just talking back and
I
forth.
would love
That's
that.
actually pretty
That's a great idea.
All right. Well, thanks for the food for the thought, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And one more. Michael, 38, Houston. Oh, Joe Coy and Chelsea Handler.
Mijo.
Mijo?
Yeah, man. I've been following Joe Coy around his stand-up going around. He's got a new flame.
Yeah, new flame, yeah.
See what you thought about that with Chelsea Handler.
Do you know her? Have you met her?
He sounds like a guy on TMZ, like a cameraman. Hey, what do you think about New Flame?
I've done her show a couple of times. My take on it is she wasn't that interested in her own show at the time I was doing it. She was like kind of delegating.
Okay.
She's had a lot of cast peanut gallery around her, and she'd bring up the story, and then they would all sort of answer the story. I don't know her personally very well. Probably talked to her a time or two. Joy, of course, we love. It doesn't strike me that this is going to end up at the altar, but if they're both having fun and enjoying themselves and traveling around, then God bless them. I don't know if she's doing. I don't know if she's doing comedy anymore. I don't think she's doing stand-up.
What's her
Well,
line?
She does stand-up. I mean, she used to do a lot of stand-up. I don't know if she has dates. Is there?
Are those all her dates?
Are those all? We looking
these
at
are
her
Chelsea's dates.
Oh, then Chelsea's doing a bunch of dates. Tons
Quite a
of
lot
dates.
of dates, actually.
Quite a lot of dates. Yeah. I was just getting reports that she was like traveling around with Joe Coy, so it didn't seem like she was doing dates, but she's got a lot of dates up. So she's doing stand-up, he's doing stand-up, and you kids have fun. I just it feels fleeting to me.
Okay.
That's my head on it. But that could just be one podcaster's opinion.
As all the Jewish grandmothers say, everybody should live and be well.
Mm-hmm. That's what we hope for. Speaking of that, Lisa Lampanelli, one of our favorites, who did officially retire from doing stand-up.
No dates.
But still brings the funny because she can't help it. She's going to come in a second. First, I'm going to tell you about Stamps.com. Small business owners. Our time is valuable. Stop wasting it at the post office. You don't want to make trips over there. Stamps.com. Mail and ship right from your computer. Since 1998, Stamps.com has been indispensable to nearly 1 million businesses. I've used it here. We've used it here since basically it's been over 11 years now. We ship merch. We ship books. We do paperwork this way. Whether you're an office sending invoices, an Etsy shop, or a giant warehouse shipping orders, Stamps.com lets you buy and print U.S. postage for any letter, any package, anywhere. Exclusive discounts discounts on U.S. Postal Service and UPS shipping rates as well. New Rate Advisor tool compares shipping rates and timeline. Special offer, 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitment. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone, top of the homepage, and type in Adam to get that deal. All right, one of our favorites, Lisa Lampanelli, is going to be in studio right after this. Lisa Lampanelli, life coach, podcaster, former stand-up in studio. Losers with a Dream is the name of the podcast, available wherever you listen to fine podcasts.
Yes.
And I'll give you more info on that. Website, LisaLampanelli.com. Good to speak to you again, my friend.
I love you so much, and I love you, Gina. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I'm finally tricking someone into marrying you. And Brian, I'm so happy to see you're still alive, because I remember I made a cancer joke about him once, and it didn't land because he had it.
Oh, that's always fun.
That's always a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
So you look very well.
Bring it back anytime you want. We're in a good place now.
You're the best. And Adam, as always, I feel just so much warmth towards you, even though I never think I live up to your standards of comedy.
What? You know you're one of my favorites.
But isn't that weird, though? I always have incredibly low self-esteem with Adam because he says I'm funny, and I know you really think it, but I always go, he's way too smart to think I was funny. You know what I mean? Like, I always have this thing where, like, smart people, I only think my fans are dopes. You know? So I appreciate that you really showed me that smart people can like me, too. Thank you. And I mean that.
I am. I'm a fan. I've always, I like you personally. I like you professionally as well. And I was thinking back on our experience on Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, God.
And the reason, and I was also thinking about Lisa's retirement from comedy. And I remember a very specific story that I am usually always on the losing end of these stories. Like, you know, a week and a half ago, we were in a tour bus coming back from San Diego at 2 a.m, and everyone's like, oh, man, what a day. And I was like, I got to do a radio phoner at 6:30 tomorrow morning, and I'm going to bed at 3:15. And everyone just looked at me like, ugh.
Oh, terrible.
I'm always the guy on the bus that has to do that. But for a rare instant, I was with Lisa and we were doing Celebrity Apprentice and we had a big challenge like the next morning. And Lisa's like, I got to go to Atlantic City, was it?
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I totally blanked that out. What happened was I had to drive. I had to leave at 6 p.m., drive to Boston from New York for 2 shows. Fuck. I had to have a big career at the time. Like right now, I couldn't suck a dick to sell a ticket in Boston, but there I am.
Couldn't hurt to try.
It hurts me deeply.
I know Dickie Barrett. He could probably move a few units, but anyway.
Okay, but so I'm driving there.
How far is that drive from New York?
3.5 hours at the least.
Right.
And thank God at the time I was married to a pretty decent guy, Jimmy Big Balls, who helped me drive. And I had to drive.
You're doing 2 theaters over
Two
there.
shows at the Wilbur.
At the Wilbur Theater.
Oy
Beautiful
vey.
theater. I played there.
Fantastic.
Big and beautiful. Right.
And I got to turn around, drive back, and literally got there at 6 a.m. to start the task the next day. And by the way, when you're a woman on the Celebrity Apprentice, over 40, at the time, I was, 49, have to do like hair and makeup.
Oh, God.
And for a woman over 49, I'm sorry, and getting yourself into Spanx because I was super overweight at the time, I was like, oh my God, I hate my life. It takes like 3.5 hours to look like not a battle axe.
That had to, just an axe.
Right.
One that had never seen
Half
battle.
a battle
never
axe.
seen the horrors of battle. Axe with a hymen.
A throwing axe.
A throwing axe. No, I remember it was burned into my psyche because I was the guy who was trying to pull that shit off and doing it a lot and always like, I gotta leave. Weeks earlier, I was in Cabo with Jimmy in his resort that he won at the celebrity auction, and I had to go down to Addison, Texas to do the 2 shows at the whatever.
Dude,
and I was
they don't get that it's not glamorous. Like the most, no part of show business to me is glamorous. You know, I love being out of it and get to like dip a toe in for a little thing where you don't need hair and makeup. By the way, the best dream job in show business is an animated show where you could show up looking like the full-on warhorse treatment and it doesn't even matter because they don't know. They draw you instead.
And you don't age.
Oh, no.
But it's interesting. You're either, you really have the life of a cockroach, not for the ways you're going to think. But if you ever see cockroaches, they're either perfectly still or they're running 1,000 miles an hour. You don't see them jogging or trotting or sauntering.
Yes.
Show business is either you're just fucking waiting in a car for an endless period of time or you're on set and you're just waiting for Donald Trump to show up for an hour and a half.
Right.
Or you're fucking running to an airport. Some guy's yelling, hold the plane. It's either bored as fuck or freaking out
wanna kill yourself.
trying to make something. But I remember real clear, like we're getting to the end of those were long days
my God.
we did on Celebrity Apprentice. I was like, I cannot wait to go back to my room and fucking stretch out. And then it was like, I remember it was like, it's a 6 a.m. call time. And I'm like, oh, boy, well, that's short. But I guess if I go to bed by 10, I can get some sleep in. And Lisa's like, I'm going to Boston.
Yeah, and also even when it was where you could get maybe, midnight to 6, knock off 2 of those hours for me because I got to get in hair and makeup.
Yeah, the girls were always in hair and makeup.
And also, by the way, Adam, let me tell you, I just talked about you on another podcast. It's so funny because somebody asked me about The Apprentice, and I go, the men's team had all the smart ones. So there was Adam Carolla. This is a genius level guy. Penn Jillette, genius level. There's on my team, Miss Fucking Universe. Are you kidding me? Teresa from The Housewives. They were as useless as a tampon at Betty White's house. I said, what the fuck am I doing? So that's why I had to stay on, and I was so desperate to make the top 4 so I didn't look stupid. Because if you get kicked off before table flipping Teresa, they're like comics are dumb cunts. Am I allowed to say cunt on this air?
We encourage it.
I had conversations with Teresa in the van.
Oy
it was oy vey.
Yeah.
But Miss Universe was one of the best looking human beings I've ever seen in my
ridiculously gorgeous.
Is it this? Is it the super long neck that does it? Because there are people that look really good, and then you see them in real life, and like Jennifer Aniston or something. You see her in real life, you go, she's cute.
Right,
she's cute, but you don't go, oh my God.
Right.
You're a vision.
I think beauty pageant winner
Diana Mendoza.
Yeah, and inarguably one of the most beautiful women in the world. And I fought tooth and nail with her. It was horrifying.
I know. Well, I had to side with her, but she was so hot and you were so big at the
It's
time.
okay. It's okay. Now I'm a hot piece of ass, as you know.
Yeah. And where's Diana?
I know. She was really beautiful, and I was a little overly hard on her, but I just very much indeed wanted. I knew I wouldn't win it because I knew I wasn't famous enough to win it. I knew that was like not happening, but I was like, gotta stay on there past Miss Universe. What the fucking fuck?
Was she feisty?
No, she was just. I'm not going to say dumb because that's the old Lisa would say
had
that.
a great accent.
But I mean, she just. I don't think she got how to play the game as well.
Right. And I think they probably looked the other way on that.
Yeah. And a lot of my stuff is like, I was probably overly mean to a bunch of people on there. But also, you want to stay on the show. So they say to you, dude, wrestle up some trouble,
In person, she was, we're looking at a picture. I was just like the best looking person in the world.
Yeah.
She had this accent. I remember we had a little downtime and we were talking, and I think we had the weekend off or something. She was Miss Venezuela. And I was like, what are you doing this weekend? And she's like, oh, my boyfriend is coming in from Venezuela.
This. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, well, that's a lucky guy. I'm going to buy flowers. I'm gonna dress the room for him.
What?
We're gonna have like a big party. I want to make things just perfect for him. And I was like,
I think you already did.
I was like, you don't have to don't do that.
Shit.
Just fucking put some sweatpants on,
dude.
Yeah, like do not do anything. And she's
Paula
like,
doers.
I've ordered flowers. I've adorned the room with flowers. And I'm like, I'm such a pig. I was like, he's gonna be fuck that guy. He doesn't need a fucking flowers. He's got you. Look at you.
Like he's gonna ever look at a flower if she's around. You know?
What's the movie, Brian? Eva Mendes and Will Ferrell, and they have that.
Oh
no!
My God!
Like
it's
the other guys. Yeah,
it's the best movie ever.
When she's like
Will Ferrell, Will Smith.
Sorry, he keeps belittling her, and like the gorgeous Eva Mendes isn't good enough for him.
Yeah, it's
like
adorable.
Right.
And I would like to take this opportunity because no one listens to my podcast yet until you promote it. I would like to say I was overly mean to Diana, and I got a lot of shit for it because I didn't know you're not supposed to do insult comedy to people's faces if they're not paying for tickets. And so you just don't have that boundary. Plus, it didn't help that literally the producer grabs me right before we started taping the second episode. She goes, we love you and we get that you're really, really the nicest person off stage. But if you want to stay on, you better step it up. And I was like, okay, here we go, bitch. And then it got out of control. Wow. So I don't really even feel bad for all my tactics during The Apprentice because it did keep me on and I raised a ton of dough, $150,000 for the gay men's health crisis. And after I took my 75% cut, they still got a lot.
They got
got
money.
cured of the AIDS.
Right.
And I feel like it was pretty mean what I was to the other girls. The men, oh no, Lou Ferrigno and I became enemies too. Now that I remember.
Lou. All right, couple things.
Oh, no.
If you're doing Lou Ferrigno, you're not making fun of deaf people. You're doing Lou Ferrigno. This is my blackface argument with Jimmy Kimmel and Carl Malone or Oprah. He's not doing blackface. Right. He's doing Oprah.
I agree.
It's not that. It's this. It's a specific guy.
Yeah.
But Lou Ferrigno struck me as one of the bigger, what we would call, back when I played football, we would call that guy a sauce.
What does that mean?
What's that? Yeah.
Soft.
Oh,
weak sauce.
Just sauce. I mean, it was just sauce. That's what we'd call it.
Weak sauce.
Weak sauce.
Yeah, no, it was
as though it was.
Yeah, it was a sauce, and I think sauce predated weak sauce by like 25 years because it was that guy was a sauce.
Does that mean like thin-skinned or?
It was like the guy who would, like, when we were running laps, the guy would grab his side and go like, Coach, I got a stitch in my side. I got to sit down and drink some water. Higgins, that guy would be a sauce. Like if that guy couldn't keep up, was kind of injury prone, did a lot of complaining.
Now that you mention that, this makes it all work in my head because I had made friends with him or like acquaintances early on because I really saw him in I Love You, Man, and just loved his part. I was like, oh, man, you were great on King of Queens, dude. I fucking love you. But then when you have to be the project manager of this horrible show and you have to try to give him a task or Diana a task to do well, you get, if you're type A like me and are a perfectionist, you get so angry at them and start screaming. So I have to hate you then because I'm the type, if I want it done right, I do it myself. But now I got to delegate to these people who are letting me down. At one point, I remember, Adam, this was so funny. During a task that had nothing to do with swimming, I said to both of them, I said, you know what you guys need to do? Because I just needed to get rid of them. I go, you got to go over to Bloomingdale's, buy yourself bathing suits. We're going to use them in the task, no problem. And they're like, okay. I was like, thank God, get out of the fucking room. So I'm just very anal. I like everything to do myself. So I was bad. I was a mean person. But I think the charity money for the AIDS helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I helped. Jesus is keeping track of that, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Lou, surprisingly soft. Now, see, here's the whole thing. Clay Aiken, hard as fucking nails, that guy. That's the guy you'd want. So you'd want to go into battle with Clay Aiken and not Lou Ferrigno.
Counterintuitive.
But nobody would know that going in, right?
No. And Clay was a gangster, man. He was good. And by the way, this is what's so cool about Clay. We became pretty good friends because you know me and the gays. And he literally came to a show of mine where I did literally 5 minutes of Clay Aiken jokes about me and him on The Apprentice that were hardcore. And he loved it. He comes up after the show and he goes, wow, you took it easy on me. And I'm like, oh, this guy's got thick ass skin. So, you know, I think sometimes when you've been through more, you could take more of a joke.
Yeah, so imagine what he's been through and grown up in North Carolina.
North Carolina and running for, I think he ran for Senate.
Think about his younger years.
Yeah.
Well, first off, just having red hair.
Awful.
That's enough.
Straight one in, two. Adam, can I ask you about this red hair thing? I have these friends. And they enjoy, and I hate that they call them gingers because it makes them special. I resent that your hair color makes you special. It's not natural, spoken as a woman with blue hair. Anyway, I do not find gingers, other than Jessica Chastain. She's super hot, inarguably.
Yeah.
Why do they think they're special, and why do people find them hot? And do you, Adam Carolla, find redheads hot? Go.
Okay. A couple thoughts. Ginger's a UK thing. Rusty is a California thing. That's a United States thing. Because we're any guy growing up named Rusty, that dude was a redhead. No one is named, the Christian name isn't Rusty.
Yeah.
Or Rustivolus or something, but they're short for Rust. You know, red hair was Rusty. So Ginger was actually sort of better, flows better, sounds better. Ginger Baker, great drummer, I guess.
Yes.
And all that. Now, here's a thought I've never had, but I'm going to try to lay it out to you guys. There are a couple of Carson Wentz, I think, is a very good-looking ginger. Now, here's the whole thing.
You're thinking of Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle.
Wentz is not a bad-looking ginger, but Dalton is a great-looking ginger.
He's known as, he's the Red Rifle.
Well, we can find both of them. They're both good-looking gingers. All right, here's my thesis on this, and I've never entertained this thought before. Ginger hair is thicker hair. You don't see redhead guys with just that hair that just drops down. You don't know Tom Petty with red hair that just sort of drops
It's
and
not
droops
silken.
and hangs.
Yeah.
You can't throw it around like the Hansons or whatever the brothers with Thor.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Hemsworths.
Yeah, the Hemsworth. So they never had that kind of hair. Like on the dudes, they could never throw it around. Women, they had it. They had Jessica Rabbit. You know, she was the hottest looking ginger. But
Or
guys,
Chris's fiance, right? Am I right?
yes,
Jen.
guys have thick pube hair. Now I don't know what it is with the ginger, like the color of the hair that kind of makes it into the Jufro pube hair. But they always had that. And then what you would have is you'd have the Danny Bonaducci syndrome, where you'd like be combed down. It looked like a weird helmet. You couldn't.
Yeah.
It was too coarse. You couldn't do anything with it.
Wiry.
But as the hairstyles changed and as the beards got into vogue, then you started seeing these guys with these nicely coiffed beards and the hair that they'd bring up short on the side and bring it up a little higher on the top. And then all of a sudden, so it wasn't the color of the hair, it's what you could do with the hair. And now that's in vogue. If it was, you got to feather your hair back like you're Leif Garrett and it's 1978,
Good luck.
that's fucking good luck, gingers, with that shit.
But, you're right. This is Andy Dalton, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you make a good point.
He's got the Jew
Let's see that
thick.
guy.
He's got the
Yeah, it's
hair.
nice.
Yeah.
It's good.
But if he was playing in the league in 1977 and someone told me he had to wear it long and
boy.
bring it down, he'd look like
gotta do
shit
it.
because it wouldn't
That's true.
work.
Yeah.
I
He
just think
couldn't-
I resent anyone who thinks they're special if it's not me.
Well-
I'm like, oh, big
fair.
deal. You got red hair. You got fucking born with it. Nice try. By the way, may I quickly mention Danny Bonaducci for a second?
1 second. Pull
Okay.
up Clay Matthews. That a ginger could not pull
Oh,
off
okay.
Clay.
He does have red hair. You're
Can't
right.
pull off Clay Matthews. Cannot. When you see Clay Matthews,
Okay.
you're going to go, but imagine if that's how you had to wear your hair and you tried as a ginger.
Right.
It's a shit show. All right, Dooch Man, go.
Okay, no, it just put me in mind of the roast of Gene Simmons. And Adam, you'll appreciate this because I do trust you now that you actually think I'm funny. We're roasting Gene Simmons for the A&E show, his Family Jewels show. And Danny Bonaducci is on stage on the dais. And of course, everybody makes fun of him. And all of us make fun of everybody. And I go, hey, Gene Simmons, don't laugh at Danny Bonaducci. He's the only one in the room who's been in a good band. Oh, shit! And I am sorry, but I am fucking funny. When
That is fucking
I just
funny.
knew you would appreciate
Partridge
that.
Family,
I
not playing
Did
his
that
instrument.
kill?
It was so good.
Oh,
because
my
not only
God.
was Gene Simmons obviously it was directed at,
Right.
but like literally guys from Anthrax, Quiet Riot, all these people are there, and I'm like, yeah, let's shit on all these fuckers.
That's great.
Oh my God, Adam, did you even enjoy when you did roasts? Because which ones did you do? I remember we did one.
Yeah,
Anderson.
I did Pam Anderson. I did Hugh Hefner, and I did most recently Alec Baldwin.
Oh wow. Okay, so did you? Because I remember we did that one together. Did you enjoy your experiences?
You know, the thing about the roast is it's this thing. Roasts are this way. Of course, when I was around with Jimmy and he was doing the Oscars, Emmys, it's this way, which is there is this. It's like you're in some Pentagon meeting room and you're going, gentlemen, that clock up there, that represents when the meteor hits. You know what I mean? It's 14 days, 21 hours, and 14 minutes. That's when the meteor hits. And in comedy, there are ways we all do a ton of shows and a ton of live this and a ton of that. It's just like, I'm going to show up and I'll figure it out. But this is not that. This is a hard out. The clock's ticking down. You can ignore it as much as you want. You can go, fuck it. I'm not going to work on any jokes. I don't know. But that clock, it just never stops ticking down. And at some point, you're going to be front and center and you shall be judged.
Oh my God, Adam, is that not the most pressure ever?
And it's an element of all those things you thought you could get away with doing stand up.
You mean like winging it?
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing of like, well, we got an oral report at school, and I haven't really studied Levi Strauss very closely, but I got the gist. I can fucking handle this.
Yeah.
because you're up against other kids that are scared shitless and their hands are shaking, they're holding their note cards. Like, I'll turn in a better performance than this guy, even though they studied the shit out of it. This, you shall be revealed. If you showed up and you didn't do your due diligence and you didn't essentially pack for this camping trip, you're going to be on top of that mountain with no beans, freezing.
Dude,
like that's kind of
literally.
what it is.
Yeah.
So it does tend to ruin the 3 weeks leading up to it, because you'll end up kind of going, I could have a few drinks and watch some TV, and then you go, but I should be going over this shit because the clock is ticking. Whenever you get to the finish line, day of, it's always the same. It's the same as the Oscars. You see Jimmy in his fucking underpants rifling through last second. You know, you always make this edict. The edict is 3 days out, I'm going to fucking lock this thing off. Every joke I'm going to tell will be done. Nothing will be added. There'll be no alterations. I'll have it. I'll be able to study it. I'll commit it to memory. It'll be flowing when and it's always day of. It's like so-and-so's doing the what's it joke, you know, and you're like, fuck, let's
Well, if you ever
change
see me,
it, right.
because they used to make me go last all the time because all these pussies wouldn't follow me. And I used to get so mad. But I'd be sitting there and you said 3 weeks. For me, it'd be like 2 months because I'd be like, I could have 8 times the jokes.
Right.
Because even if you don't repeat a joke, you might repeat a subject. And by the last roaster on the 18-person Pam Anderson roast, tit jokes just, even if it was the best tit joke in the universe, it's not going to get what you wanted.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. If you ever pan out during a roast during the commercial, it's literally me with pages like just crossing shit out and just going motherfucker and being all angry. So
Well,
this is shit that I do not miss.
The good news about sort of technology or maybe just evolution is they now do that for you. Like,
Well,
you
what
know,
they do?
Like they'll say, so-and-so has a joke like that.
You turn in all your shit.
Boy, did
and
I quit comedy too
they
soon.
go,
I gotta make a comeback.
Jeff Ross is doing one that's pretty close, you know,
Right.
and you go, fuck it, and pull it out. You can pre-vet it, which
Yeah.
is really fucking helpful.
Duh.
I have to
Wow,
say,
dude,
something very, very special to me about you, Lisa. I used to live in New York. I used to go see you all the time. I loved you. I was terrified of you. I did everything that. My reaction to you was everything you'd want, as you know, is the kind of comedy you did.
Right.
And when I would watch you specifically on roasts, that is the moment for lack of a better word, this is so fucking stupid, but like, for lack of a better word, for permission, I gave myself permission to be the butt of the joke and to laugh at it. And it's because of you 100%, because somebody would say something and they'd pan to you and you would throw your head back. And I was like, I get it. Like, you don't have to be defensive. You don't have to be hurt. You don't have to fire back. You could just let the joke be great.
Well, because some of those jokes were so good that you can't not laugh at yourself.
Absolutely. And the first time I ever saw that, and from a woman, was you. And that changed me. And it certainly changed me doing this kind of show. I mean, these guys are fucking brutal, and nobody laughs harder than I do.
See, what's great about that, I'm so pleased
Quiet,
to hear
broad.
this. Because, shut up, you dumb cunt. But here, I love that it affected you that way and other women. I had lunch this week with a woman. She's not in the business at all. And she's like, oh, when I saw you when I was 16, on that Pam Anderson roast, coincidentally, she goes, it gave me permission to speak my mind. So you never know who you're affecting.
Absolutely.
But Adam and Gina, here's the whole freaking trick about laughing at yourself. They have most of the jokes on the teleprompter. So they're up right before, and you just glance up, and if you see your name, you don't read the joke, but you see your name because you want to look surprised. So you go, okay, sit up, because when you're fat,
Carol
you
was
have
gonna
to
pan to you.
you got to
Show
sit
you.
up on the chair and put tits up, and you just go, get ready to laugh, no matter if it's not funny. Because some of them weren't funny, which is that offended me. I was always like, freaking make my jokes funny, dumbass. So I would laugh. And then I was like, oh, good. I've become known as this person who could take a joke. And honestly, most of them were good enough that it was a good joke and you could take a joke. Some of them were fucking lazy and I was like phoning it in. But yeah, because some of those guys, they just didn't have it. You know what I'm saying, Adam? They didn't work hard enough at it to make it a worthy joke.
But you knew.
Believe you me.
But you knew as someone reacting to the joke, it was still going to make you look good
100%.
to laugh with the room.
Right,
That's
right.
so great.
I liked a good joke, a well-crafted joke about me. There's nothing funnier than Artie Lang looking at me at his most horrible looking, heroined out best and going, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, hey, aren't you Lisa Lampanelli? That is a great fucking joke. If I got my feelings hurt, there would be something mentally wrong with me. So I think it's good to have that thicker skin.
Yes.
You know, I have it on stage. I'm still very sensitive off stage, and I'm a little bitch. But I'm like, okay, I'm just working on myself. It's fine.
Well, going all the way back to that drive to Boston.
Oh, God, yeah.
I recall that, I forgot you were doing 2 fucking shows in a theater. And you must have had to leave New York by 4:30. Yeah. As soon as we wrapped, jumped in the car, big balls, sped toward Boston.
That's right.
You get there. There's also a thing that people don't realize, which is a lot of people talk about travel, like, oh, you got to get to the airport. You got to hustle through. You got to make sure you got all your bags and all your shit. And, the flight and the delays or coach or whatever, the big fucking ball of complaints. But once you get to Orlando, you get to fucking go out to dinner. You're going to dinner when you get there. Like, that's what you check into the hotel, and then you go out to dinner. I do 2 fucking shows when we land.
I know.
That's the part, that's the backbreaker part. Like, everyone looks at the travel. Well, travel's fine. If you can check in your room and just lay out on your bed and order room service, like, so be it. It's
You're not punching in.
What's as tired as you were leaving New York once you get to Boston, that's when the work begins.
Well, you're absolutely right. Plus, the meet and greets are the morons that the people you were stupid enough to forget that you were on The Apprentice. You thought you'd get kicked off by then. So you have to come greet those a-holes and pretend you like them because you never like anyone at those things. And Adam, I just remembered now, it's like PTSD. The shows were 9 and 11.
Oh, my God.
Like, kiss my clam. It was horrible. And it's so funny because that's the one thing I'm proud of about comedy. I'm telling you, from the day I started open micing to the day I quit, I never felt like I phoned in anything. I didn't give a shit. I would have very sad Saturdays because my dad had passed away on a Saturday, and I'd go, oh, this is sad, but somebody out there needs a laugh too. I never phoned that shit in, and I'm sure you don't either. We're just not like that. But dude, you just go, oh my God, the lifestyle is just too much for me anymore. It doesn't lead to any happiness, really.
I mean, you had to get back to New York at 5 in the morning and just go straight.
It was about 6, and then I had to do
the makeup.
That was horrible. And I was thinking last night, I remember there was times that I would say to my makeup chick, because she was really, really good with like over 40 skin, I'll go, Andy, if I lay right, can I just sleep in my makeup and we like just touch it up the next day for a half hour? And she'd be like, yeah, sure. Just don't close your eyes tight. And I'm like, okay. I mean, honestly, it was mental. It's horrible. So now anytime I do anything, I'm like, oh, I could just like look like me. It's great. I don't have to worry about it. And those fucking hair extensions and all that shit you young gals do. Stop it. Cut it out, Brian. Never get hair extensions.
I was thinking about it.
All right. Let me hit ZipRecruiter, and then we'll move on to the news. ZipRecruiter. There's things you got to choose for yourself. So you choose the best, right? Choose the best steaks, mattresses, cars. What if you could do the same with hiring? Choose your ideal candidate before they apply. ZipRecruiter's invite to apply lets you pick favorites from top candidates, and you can pick out skim the cream off the top. And right now, you can try it free at ZipRecruiter.com/Adam. Just post a job on ZipRecruiter. They send you the most qualified people. Then you easily review candidates and invite your top choices to apply. Lauren Webb, SVP of Talent Acquisitions at Medola Health, says, we have a much higher follow-through rate if I invite candidates. It's easy for me and easy for them at ZipRecruiter, right, Dawson?
See for yourself. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Adam, ADAM, and try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Adam. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
An Asian tourist who went missing in Iceland was found in her own search party after she failed to recognize her own description released by the police.
Was she drunk too?
That's a good question.
I know.
I wonder if this is like a pattern, like if his wife plans a surprise party and he walks in the front door and everyone else yells surprise and he goes, oh, let me hide behind the sofa.